Hello, Poly Sci-Fi here. We're going to take a look at the question, how big is too big for government to be? As you might know by now, if you've been watching my videos, I lean more towards libertarian, small federal government, particularly for the U.S., where it's such a large country. The federal government should have some actions that help the entire nation, but they should leave most decision-making right up to the states and the counties. And we don't have to think in words like county, state, and country, because I'm thinking of this utopia government for the world, right? Possibly getting a shared government system. In that case, you would have this very lightweight, global government, followed by a little heavier, continent government, followed by a smaller country government, but something that keeps things a bit more fair in my mind. But today we'll take a look at how big is too big, and we're going to do that by checking out what's in the $900 billion coronavirus relief plan. So that starts off with more unemployment insurance supplement. I could have sworn that this money ran out before anyway, right? Wasn't it like in August they had like 6 weeks worth of payments that people could get, and then it was just like never replenished since August? Apparently something else must have happened, that people had money up until the end of the year. Again, I feel for people who don't have money, and I really got to say that if you don't have money in the world's greatest free market country ever, then there's a problem. What's that problem exactly? Is it that the federal government is too big? I don't think that's really the nature of everything, but you have super rich companies getting richer and richer. I don't know if I ever told you guys about this before, but I was applying for a position at SpaceX. I live right near NASA, and I'm applying for this position for a rocket ship parts manager or something like that. So I'm thinking I'm on the computer ordering parts. I'm thinking Boeing airplanes have like over 1 million parts for the airplane. So I'm thinking a rocket ship, from what I recall, the engine alone has over 1 million parts, right? So I'm like, man, this must be a really high-tech job. You must have to be able to, have these relationships with other companies and have good computer skills and organizations. I was like, my desired salary is $100,000. And I keep applying and applying. The job keeps coming up, comes out. They got like 5 versions of the job. They constantly need people. I'm applying. I'm never getting any phone calls back. And lo and behold, months later, I find the same job on another website where it actually tells you the salary, $8.50 an hour. Yeah, okay, thanks there, Muskie. Yeah, that's great. $8.50 an hour for a rocket ship manager. I mean, what? Florida makes me laugh when I hear those things. I mean, even if you look at like a NASA rocket scientist, like that starting wage is like $32,000 a year or something. I'm sure they get like some, or at least they used to get some really serious federal benefits packages and things like that. But I mean, I feel like government and employers both should not have this kind of power over anybody. It should just be this raw payment that you get for your work, and then you can choose your own insurance, you can pay for your own retirement. Why does a job have to couple all that together? I guess somehow it saves them taxes, so it's related to their relationship with the government, but all that stuff doesn't make sense to me. Just give people what they need and let them go out and barter and do their thing after. So I'm still not really a fan of paying people for not working. What about that person that went out and struggled and got that job at McDonald's? It doesn't have to be a job at McDonald's. They just took some other lesser job. And here are all these other people that did not take a lesser job. And there they are getting the same amount of money you're getting for working, I want to say 40 hours a week, but by the time you drive to and from work, you take the mandatory 1-hour lunch, it's like 10 hours a day. Plus, you got to pay for childcare because you're not home. I mean, it's ridiculous. That person's making way less than these other people are. And then I saw that there's all this money for people who can't pay their rent. And that's basically people who don't have a job. So you're basically paying the same people twice to not do it. I mean, what about the person that took money out of their savings, out of their 401k to pay their rent because they had one person has $1 million in their 401k and they refuse to take any out, And now they're getting money to pay their rent. They're getting money for not working. Another person had no money in their 401k, took a job at McDonald's, and now they're not getting any money for these things. I mean, I understand that's not every situation, and I'm not being very sensitive to people who really truly can't get a job and really truly can't pay their rent, and I'm glad they're going to get some help, but does it really have to be the government that gives them that help? You can't have local organizations that can help. They don't have family members that can help. Paycheck Protection Program, once again, giving out these loans that you don't have to pay back, going to these huge companies that, it's even going to these gigantic companies that took the huge PPP loan, gave half of it to pay their employees because that was the requirement, just kept the other half and absolved it. And then as soon as the requirement was done, they laid them off anyway. And now they're just going to do the whole thing over again. These PPP loans are ridiculous. Either give money straight to the people or don't. Why would you give money to the Why would you give money to the businesses? That doesn't even make sense. Hardest hit businesses? Yeah, I'd really like to see how you're going to specify the hardest hit businesses. I'm a small business. I'm not going to say it was hard hit. Curious what the application process would be like on that one, if I could even get an application. Last time I could not. Direct payments to Americans, I think that's great. I don't think it's great how big government is. I'm going to take $8,000 from you for taxes, and now I'm going to give you back $1,200 just to be nice. You shouldn't have taken that much money before. And we paid all these Congress people, hundreds of people in the House, 100 people in the Senate, all their assistants, all these, thousands of people. We paid all this money so they could just sit there and bicker for 6 months when you just could have not taken it to begin with. That is really making me laugh today. So obviously I'm in favor of not as big of a government as we currently have. No evictions and helping people with their rent. I think that's great. So my question is, where is this money coming from? So I struggled, I worked, I got a job, I'm paying my rent and my taxes, and now, in addition to that, I'm having to help pay somebody else's taxes. I mean, I could have just given my neighbor money if I wanted to do that. I could have just handed in the money myself rather than having it go through this process with the big government and the big wash. And, I'm sure that we're losing some of the money in that process. And if it's not my tax dollars, then you're deflating my dollars because you're just running off bills to give people. We have COVID vaccines. Of course, that's very important. Hunger crisis, helping people get food, yeah. And transportation needs such as airlines. I gotta tell you, an airline ticket's a lot of money. I don't really know what their profit margins are and how they make money, but I know that when I go on flights, it's a lot of money, and I know they squeeze a lot of people in those planes. You guys couldn't save enough money to get through 1 year? To get through 9 months? You couldn't save enough money to get through 9 months and to keep all your employees? You don't have that kind of money? And yet you tell people that they should be saving that kind of, a business can't even save that kind of money? I don't think so. You're just giving it away. You're just wasting it. You're giving it to all your executives. You certainly aren't giving it to the employees. Or if you are, and they had the money, then they should have been saving it, and they shouldn't be saying that they need money now too. And why can't everybody? Why can't businesses save some of their funds? Why can't people save their money? I think they can, and I think they're just saying that they didn't, but they really did, and then they're just like not giving it up, right? I mean, nobody's actually looking in your bank account to know. Child care assistance. Okay, yeah, people do need help with their children. I don't have children, so I'm not going to benefit, but certainly some people do. I mean, when you look at this stuff, what do you think? Right? You think to yourself, I'm not getting very much out of this, and I'm paying taxes. I'm getting kind of ripped off here. I didn't really approve these things, but other people are getting all kinds of benefits, and I'm working hard, and I'm not getting as benefited. I know that it's for the greater good, and we're helping people, and I hope we can push through, but all the while I'm devaluing my currency. Like, I can't even send money to other countries at this point because it's a good 10% lower than it was at the start of all this. So on broadband internet, that certainly is great to get out there. You're telling me these broadband internet companies aren't making plenty of money to just do it themselves? What am I paying $55 for? I'm one little tiny house paying $55 for a little bit of internet every month. I don't know. $15 billion to go to live event venues? Well, I guess we want to keep those venues up and running for the future. I just feel like all these things were costing so much more money. Like to go get your car fixed, the car mechanic who never even went to college was like $200 an hour, and like to get your plumbing done, it's like all this money from people that didn't even go to college, which doesn't. No, I'm not putting them down or anything. I'm just saying that they used to charge $50 an hour, and all of a sudden it's $200 an hour. It's like they just picked their price, and that's what it is. It's part of this ever increasing thing. But I'm working year after year, and I'm not getting any raises, or I'm getting like 1% raises year after year. I see, all this increase in the amount that things cost where my money doesn't increase, and now they just have all this money being handed out again. And once again, even though I'm working hard, I'm doing the best I can, I'm choosing my prices, and I'm trying to be fair to people. I'm devalued. I feel like I'm being devalued by this. Like I'm not benefiting, and in fact I'm getting the opposite of benefit from most of what I see. And I just feel like it's out of my hands, and I feel like I wish it was in my hands. I wish I had more control of my life, and I wish there were not so many outside forces messing with like everything. My retirement, my savings, my money itself that I'm spending. I just feel like there are a lot of forces at play here that I do not like. So certainly in utopia, we're going to have a very small and less intense government, and we are certainly hoping for a global currency to not have all these manipulations. Nothing that's going to be like tomorrow or next year, right? But a long-term balancing of the value of currencies, and very little need for government step in, just allowing neighborhoods and people to help each other and to make it through tough times.